Hey there, I'm Patrick Franco. We're gonna look at Parivrtta Utkatasana, which translates as Revolved Chair Pose, or Revolved, Intense, or Powerful Pose. This is a standing pose that's a standing twist. And what does that mean? You're gonna see this pose at the end of the standing pose section. Typically, the standing poses progress from the most spacious to the most compact to then revolved. So by the time you get to Revolved Utkatasana or Parivrtta Utkatasana, your body should have been prepared well so that you can twist deeply. So this pose does strengthen and stretch much of the body. But as the name suggests, most of the revolved poses are very strong in detoxifying the spine, but also Utkatasana we know means powerful or intense pose. So this pose is a strong, vigorous standing twist. Specifically, this pose strengthens the feet and the ankles. It strengthens the quadriceps and the hip flexors. It strengthens the hip stabilizing muscles. It strengthens the muscles of the upper back in order to sustain this twist. And it also stretches a couple key components. It stretches the sides of the trunk because in order to turn, we're going to try to create space in the sides of the torso. It also stretches the muscles of the upper back to get that big, big twist. And it stretches, of course, the Achilles, the calves, and the feet. So let's go ahead and take a look at Revolved Chair Pose now. I'm going to turn to the side, mainly because you'll get a better angle of what is necessary in order to perform this pose. So we'll start in Tadasana, feet together, hands by the sides, and then we'll move into Utkatasana. The arms will go up, then we can bend the ankles, the knees, and the hips. Now, we're gonna start to turn, and one of the things that has to happen is we wanna be stable. This elbow is gonna come across this thigh. In order to do that, I like to use my hand on my thigh to just ground my thigh down. So I'll sit deeper. And then in order to turn, my pelvis, my thighs actually have to turn with me. So the idea of keeping the knees level doesn't actually help you really revolve into the pose. So Utkatasana, hand to the thigh. I am going to let this leg go so that I can get further across my opposite thigh and hook my elbow. Once I get my elbow outside my thigh, I keep my buttocks down, my palms can come together, and then from my palms coming together, I use that to turn my trunk. So my abdomen has to relax and turn. My back is spreading. My knees, ankles, hips stay bent. To come out, I press my heels down. I can rise all the way back up and come back to Tadasana. So, revolved chair, it's a powerful, twisting, compact pose. One of the things that typically comes up in these poses in which the container or the shape is smaller is how can we find space? And that's the most challenging part in a pose like this. So one of the things that we can do if we're not fully ready to do the full twist is to do some of the twist with a little more space. So in this pose, typically the feet, the knees, the thighs are together. One thing that we can do is separate the feet. And when we separate the feet, we have more room in the pelvis, but it's gonna also give us more room to turn the torso. My elbow is probably not going to make it all the way across to the far leg, but instead my elbow is going to be on this inner thigh. And it's not as deep of a twist as the classic version of Revolved Chair Pose, but it has some great elements to it that is a stepping stone on the way to the full version. So let's look at that one now. I'll take my feet hip distance wide. I'll take my arms up, Urdhva Hastasana, and then I'll do Utkatasana with my feet and knees separated. I'll start the same way, hand to the thigh. Now, instead of bringing this elbow across my opposite thigh, I'm gonna bring it to the inner thigh. I'll allow my leg to come forward so my hips turn. I'll take my hands together just as I did, and then I'll use that to leverage my back and my shoulders to rotate. And then I can come up. All right, Revolved Utkatasana. It's a strong pose, a compact pose. It's important to breathe because when we're in tighter spaces, the breath can become more constricted. Obviously, I was talking to you through the entirety of it, but make sure when you're practicing this pose to breathe in and out through the nose slowly and deeply so that your body doesn't tense or tighten as you're working on this pose. All right, we'll see you on the mat next time.